Hi, welcome to Good Life Road. I'm Derek, and my wife Kathy and I have spent about 6 months in Puerto Vallarta over a handful of trips. Figuring out how to get around Puerto Vallarta, Mexico without a car can be a bit challenging because there's really not very much information out there. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you how to get around Puerto Vallarta, Mexico without a car, which mode of transportation is best for various situations, and how to save money along the way. So from getting to your accommodation from the airport, to bus routes, taxis, Uber, and even boat taxis. I'm going to cover it all. So when you first arrive at the airport, you have two options to get to your accommodations, essentially a taxi or an Uber. Or you could take the bus, but with all your luggage, that's a bit of pain. So when you're coming out of the baggage claim area, you'll see some taxi kiosks to the left just before you exit out to the curb. That's where you can book your taxi and you can use your credit card there. It'll cost you about 30 to 50 US dollars to most locations in Puerto Vallarta from there if you pay at that location. Now you cannot catch an Uber on the airport property. But you can catch an Uber across the pedestrian bridge. So if you wanted to do that, which is what we like to do, you can leave the airport onto the curb, head to your left. When you get to the end of the building, you'll see, to your left, you'll see a footbridge that goes up and over the highway. It's got ramps, not stairs, so you can wheel your luggage. When you get to the other side, that's where you can hail both a city taxi or an Uber for 50% or even cheaper than what you would have paid for the taxi at the airport. But you have to be cautious because if you haven't exchanged your dollars for pesos yet, most of the city taxis will only take pesos, but you may be able to talk some of them into dollars. So if you don't have the pesos yet, you'll need to either use Uber or you can catch a taxi back at the airport.
Pro tip, pick up a Marlin burrito before you get in the Uber.
So once you've settled into your accommodations and are ready to explore all that Puerto Vallarta has to offer, there are multiple options for how to get around, from walking to buses to taxis to Ubers, and of course the occasional boat taxi. Puerto Vallarta is a very walkable city, and the views are just simply stunning all over the place as you walk around. But when you want to relocate, say you're walking around and you want to relocate from one neighborhood to another, the most convenient way and the most affordable way to get from one place to another are the buses. So stick around because towards the end of the video, I'll cover the buses and the boat taxis. These are our two favorite ways to get around, but they're also some of the most tricky modes of transit to figure out. As long as you have good cellular reception, Uber works well in Puerto Vallarta. We've also found that it can be quite a bit cheaper than the taxis. Of course, you don't need to use those precious pesos. One of the things to be aware of is that Uber sometimes takes 5 to 15 minutes to arrive after you've scheduled in the app. So if you see a taxi nearby and you are in a hurry or you just don't want to wait around, you might want to grab that taxi while you can, as long as you've got those pesos. Note that there are sections of the romantic zone, particularly around the edges of the neighborhood, where the cellular reception is pretty spotty. So another reason to keep some pesos on hand so that you can either catch a taxi or a bus if necessary. So taxis are abundant in Centro and in the romantic zone, and they're relatively accessible and abundant in the Cinco de Diciembre neighborhood. At the larger hotels, you can usually have a taxi that's queued up right there near the entrance, but if it's not, you can ask the front desk or the bellman to call you one, and they usually get there quickly, like within 3 to 5 minutes. Whenever we've caught a taxi from the Centro area back to Cinco de Diciembre, from around the Plaza de Armas location of Centro, it's cost us consistently 100 pesos each time. So that gives you some confidence that they're not trying to overcharge you. That's about $5.50 for that one direction. Getting a little breezy. So as we've discussed earlier, the bus is the most affordable and often the most convenient way to get around Puerto Vallarta, especially if you're staying in the hotel zone, Cinco de Diciembre, Centro, or Romantica. It costs 10 pesos per person each direction, which is about 50 cents USD. And while it's the most affordable option, it can be a little bit intimidating at first. So trust me, stick around. As long as you don't have mobility issues, which can be a challenge on the bus, then I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it once you figure out how it works. You may want to drop into the Puerto Vallarta Tourist Center, located at the Plaza de Armas near the church in the center of the Centro neighborhood, to pick up a bus route map, just to help you get oriented. You're really just going to need it at the beginning to kind of see the lay of the land. After that, you're going to want to be using the Google Maps app on your phone to navigate the bus system. So you just go in, tell Google Maps where you want to go, pick the bus transit, and it's going to map you your walk down to the closest bus stop, and then the stops along the way in like a dark blue line, and then where you get off, and then your walk to your destination from that end bus stop. I always keep the Google Maps running while we're in transit so that I can see how many more stops there are before the stop where we need to get off. And that's really handy to give you confidence that, because you might not know looking out the window where the stop's going to be. And so I highly recommend doing that. Note that the bus does not automatically stop at every stop. It only stops if somebody asks it to stop by waving their hand, which you'll want to know. While you're standing there, you want to point your finger down at the street in front of you. That's how you wave them down. If nobody's doing that at the bus stop and nobody on the bus is asking the bus to stop, it won't stop. So another reason to just keep an eye on the app, because you don't want to just count stops, because it doesn't work that way. So you're going to have to let the bus driver know when you want to get off at your stop. So there's a red button by the rear exit door. There's also usually one on the handrail in the middle of the bus that you want to push that when you're getting close to your stop, and that will prompt them to stop at that bus stop. Also, if you're near the front of the bus, you can just ask the bus driver to stop. If you're coming into downtown on the bus from the north, like the marina or the hotel zone, and you want to be getting off in downtown like Cinco de Diciembre, Centro, or the northern part of the romantic zone, you really want to be sure that you look in the window and on the front of the bus, and there will be a sign there that says either Centro or Tunnel. If you want to get off anywhere in the downtown part, you're going to want to take the one that says Centro. Because if it says Tunnel, that means that the bus is going to be taking a quicker route. It's going to go around downtown, and it's going to up through a tunnel, and it will come in on the southern part of the romantic zone. So you won't be able to get off anywhere in between. Similarly, like if you want to skip over and get off on the southern end of the romantic zone, there's some other buses down there that will connect you to the bus that'll take you down to Boca de Tomatlán or the Botanic Gardens. If you want to do that, then take the tunnel route. It'll get you there quicker. Also, if you're taking a bus to the north and you want to go somewhere like the marina or one of the shopping areas like La Isla or Plaza Galerías, I suggest you can use the Google Maps, of course, to see what bus numbers will take you there and then look for those numbers on the front of the bus as it approaches. But I also strongly suggest you ask the driver before you get on the bus if the bus is actually going to take you to the location you want to go. And you'll want to do this by just hollering from the curb, because if you get on and it's the wrong bus, it's a pain and they get frustrated. So you want to holler from the curb, really in a quickly worded way, like "A Marina" or "A Plaza Galleria," and they'll appreciate you asking. And trust me, the drivers are really friendly. So highly recommend you doing that. Similarly, if you're heading south from the romantic zone down to Boca de Tomatlán or the Botanic Gardens, I suggest you do the same thing. Ask before you get on the bus. Once we figured out how to take boat taxis in Puerto Vallarta, the world of the amazingly beautiful, secluded beaches to the south of Boca de Tomatlán opened up for us. We're really big beach and ocean sports people, so the information I'm about to share with you was a real game changer for us, and I hope it is for you too. You can get a boat taxi from either the Los Muertos Pier in the Zona Romantica or the beautiful small port town of Boca de Tomatlán. which is about a 20 to 30 minute bus ride from the Zona Romantica. We prefer taking the bus down to Boca de Tomatlán because we enjoy the bus ride, seeing all the small beach towns and the fancy resorts along the way. And we also save a decent amount of money on the taxi ride or the boat taxi ride from Bocas rather than taking it from the Los Muertos Pier. When you get to Bocas and you get off the bus, you're going to want to walk down the hill and then head to the right at the bottom of the hill over towards the docks. And while you're getting towards the bottom and making that corner towards the right, you will almost certainly be approached by a bunch of boat taxi drivers negotiating with you. And it's going to take some negotiating, but the prices are, if you're going to go to Las Ánimas beach, it's about 100 pesos per person each way and about a 10-minute boat ride. Quimixto is similarly about 100 pesos each way and about a 15-minute boat ride. And if you want to go to Majahuitas, it's approximately 120 pesos each way and about a 20-minute boat ride. And Yelapa is one of the further to the south. That's about 140 pesos each way and about a 25-minute ride. And the boat taxis from the Los Muertos Pier, they cost a little bit more than double the prices from Bocas. And they also take a little bit more than double the time on the water to get there from Los Muertos Pier. But that said, if you account for the time on the bus, the total amount of time is about the same, irrespective of which approach you take. So take that as it is for yourselves and choose your route. If you happen to not do well on boats or get a little seasick, you might want to take the bus down to Bocas just to minimize your time on the sea. So some of the boat taxi riders are going to want to book your return trip for you at the same time that you're negotiating your route out to the beach. If you choose to do this, it's best to arrange to make your payment to them at the time that they pick you up later in the day, just for peace of mind. Certainly don't need to arrange this return trip. The boats are circling by the piers at each of these beaches all throughout the day. And also, if you end up like hanging out at one of the restaurants or bars at one of these beaches, the people at the restaurant are going to be more than happy to arrange for your boat ride back. And they're going to do a really good job at negotiating the best price for you. So, and you can talk to them about that at the time as well. So if you're the type of person who is up for a bit of adventure, loves a beautiful secluded beach, and enjoys a nice ride on a boat, you're going to love exploring the beaches to the south of Puerto Vallarta. We really hope that this video helps ensure you have a wonderful time while exploring Puerto Vallarta. Feeling confident in your ability to get around a new city while you're doing your exploring on the fly all around the world really helps to make your time there as enjoyable as possible. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. We'd love it if you were to subscribe and come with us along the way as we explore new cities around the world as full-time travelers. Thank you. Bye.